You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts.
Are you ready? I'm saying, are you ready? Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform
Or ask your smart speaker
to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Right, Chris.
All right. Oh, I'm small. Let me just, Dave, let me a Viagra. There I am. There we go. It works. I made myself large. I enjoyed it. I might do it again later if time allows. Good evening. Hello. Good day. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good night. Goodbye. Hello. Welcome along. This is Leicester Till I Die TV, LTID TV 1, bringing you the debate show live on a Monday night. Fingers crossed that we have fingers crossed we're working because yesterday, YouTube was having a little bit of a meltdown, and you couldn't get Mark Goldridge on TalkSport, which may be a good thing. I don't know. But welcome along. We've got a lot to get through. Obviously, we are going to be discussing the match and how the season is going, as we always do on a Monday. I'm just going to go through the topics here, talking Harry Winks. Going to be looking at some of the stats for the Leicester players, one of the loan players, a certain player that's retired, and a certain match that's coming up that's going to be on Sky following a Netflix documentary, which I'm sure you can work out. Good evening. You are in. Like I said earlier, we are going to be covering, like I've just said there, a certain retirement later on in the show. Doug is in. Daddy Doug, how are you doing? I hope Nathan is all right. And Rebecca as well, of course. We've got to give a bit of love to the mothers, haven't we? Yes. I think the Gary Ainsworth sacking was a little bit totally expected. Surprised he didn't go before. Highfields is in. Hello, Highfields. Whereabouts are you in the world today? I know you get about today. But welcome along. Right, I'm going to start off with a bit of a moan. It's not like me. There's a gentleman that I used to have co-host with me, and there was a reason that he no longer does co-host on these shows. I'm going back quite a bit. That was a gentleman called Mark Heath. Now, he just tagged me in something on Twitter. With everything that's going on in the world at the moment. You may remember Hamza Chowdhury displayed a flag at the end of the FA Cup final. And basically, Mark Heath was saying that that Hamza would never be welcome back at the KP whilst he was there. Now, look, there are two sides to every story, two sides to every conflict. I particularly don't give a shit about what people's political beliefs are. We do not discuss politics in here. We do not discuss religion in here unless it's a joke. For obvious reasons, as far as I'm concerned, Hamza has my full support whilst he's a Leicester player, whilst he's given 100%. His political views are his views, not mine, not anybody else's. I don't know his family history. I don't know what his beliefs are. He is entitled to have those. And Hamza, as far as I'm concerned, mate, whichever side of the divide you fall on, you have my support as a Leicester player. Okay, you can do that if you would do along the bottom there, which do my bottom there. There's an offer you're not going to get every week because I'm not going to give it every week. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell. We really, really, really do appreciate it, and it does support the channel. I've got two people sat in the green room, probably slowly getting drunk, that I'm going to bring in now. One of them's just doing the hair. One of them hasn't got much hair to do. So she's having a L'Oreal moment. Let's bring the first one and say hello to Kate.
Where you're going, your father will never find you.
Kate, hello. Oh, yes. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Don't do that too hard. It might come off.
Yeah. What, my head or my wig?
Well, we could go that. No, we're not going there. We're not going there. We're having no travel log and no food log this week either, which is going to make it really, really difficult. I don't know what our next guest is going to have to talk about, but we'll bring him in as well and say hello to Dave.
Just what do you think you're doing, Dave?
I wish I could. Give me a biscuit and I might, but so we can't talk about food yet. You put a sausage up to start with.
Well, what can I say? It's like the guy who, when I walked into a pub once and there's a dog sat on the floor licking his balls, I learned to his hair. I said, I wish I could do that. He said, give him a pat, he might let you. Anyway. Oh, we've started. Started. It was all going so well.
I can't see you.
Have you made it? Have you gone large?
I've gone big. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You did.
You're in.
I'm in like Flynn. Yep. I've got a guest with me as well tonight. Not the one you're thinking of, but do you see that?
Oh.
It's a ninky nonk.
Of course it is.
We've got the granddaughter here the next couple of days, so it's carnage behind me. Yeah.
Well, if you can stop playing with your, what was it, Ninky Nog?
Me Ninky Nonk.
Ninky Nog, sorry.
Nonk.
If you can stop playing with your Ninky Nog.
As in plonk, nonk.
Were you impressed with Dave's Ninky Nog there, Kate?
Well, it's very colourful.
What I expected to see, let's put it that way.
Very colourful, isn't it?
Very colourful.
Shall we move on?
Yeah.
very, very, very quickly. And just to finish off what I was saying earlier on, by the way, that gentleman is now blocked and doesn't follow me on Twitter because I don't allow him to anymore. Right. Don't forget, if you've got any questions that are off topic, save them to the end. I was previous week starring them, but please save them till the end and then get them in, and I'll put those questions to our esteemed panel because I'm getting two more people in at the end. But let's start off with the two that will. They love me. They absolutely love me. Kate, I mean, it's looking so good, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you can't really say much better than that, can you? What, 39 out of 42?
Yes.
It's still absolutely insane the start that we've had, but it's also just as insane that Ipswich are still there as well. Like they're absolutely flying as well. Like two real teams in their pomp, really. Yeah, great result again at the weekend, and long may this continue where we've got that gap and 14 points clear of third is just unbelievable before we've even got to November.
Well, can I just say, Dave, last season, two teams went down with 44, so 45 points, and we're safe.
Yeah, you're right. Which is always the way to go, isn't it?
Yes, Claudio would say, let's just take one step at a time.
Yeah, we can dream. We can dream. I mean, in my crazy back mind, we're up. But I daren't say anything because, what can go wrong? What can possibly go wrong?
Nothing can go wrong. But Dave, I mean, fair play, as Kate said to Ipswich, that the best start, and we think of sort of our records and what have you, the best start that any promoted team has ever had into the second tier.
Yeah. Well, Ipswich, I think they're playing some pretty good football as well, aren't they? And I think that, ironically, that could be their downfall. We're grinding out results when maybe we didn't, like Saturday. Kate was there, so you'll tell us more. But to me, it sounded and it seemed what I saw that, we were under a lot of pressure. Certainly, again, with a team like QPR, their home support, and it's like it used to be at Filbert Street. So, to get a result there is pretty incredible. And I expect teams like Ipswich to fold under that sort of pressure.
I mean, I keep saying, Kate, and you may have said it, a lot of people have been saying it, let's see what Ipswich are doing, around Christmas, when all the games are coming thick and fast. But they've been coming thick and fast so far at the start of the season, and they're still there. Funnily enough, with the manager, who was one of my top 2 choices to come at the start of the season to Leicester.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and they've got a nice 9-point cushion themselves as well. There's a good gap there, so they can afford a couple of hiccups.
Are you moving, Dave? Because I'm still moving. Kate has frozen.
Oh,
not with me. She's not.
Oh, right.
Must be my personality.
It's your Porky Whites.
Am I still okay?
No, you're fine, Kate.
You froze on me. Do you want to do that bit again? So I do apologise.
Chris, let it go.
Yeah, so Ipswich have already got a 9-point cushion above Leeds there. So I think Ipswich played Leeds, didn't they, in August time? I think it was 3-2 or something like that. So it'd be interesting to see how important that result might be later on down the season. But they've built up a nice cushion, and like you say, it doesn't seem to be the wheels are going to come off at any point soon. So we'll just have to see what happens. They've done phenomenally well, and I don't think they're to be underestimated, because after 13 games to have only dropped 8 points, that's not luck. That isn't luck anymore. That's more than a good few results. That's more than a run, you would say. That's actually form and tactics, and there's a longevity to it now, which is where we're at as well. So, but Leeds and Southampton will be chomping at the bit. That's for sure. They'll want to go hard. They'll go hard against us on Friday, I'm sure. We'll come on to that. But yeah, fair play to Ipswich, but long may the cushion continue, really. That's all we're bothered about at the minute, is that third position and how far away we are.
Well, I think this, and please, nobody ever tell me that I sort of waste my afternoons at all, but I think this is how we're all... Oh, are we all feeling that way, Dave?
You're wasting your afternoons, Chris. Yeah, I think so. I know it's early, but why not?
Yes.
I'd say we deserve it after the last 2 or 3 years.
I thought when I was doing that this afternoon, funnily enough, just before I did your cat introduction, when I did that this afternoon, I thought, am I being sort of, like condescending or big-headed? And I thought, sod it, no, like you say, let's enjoy what we while we can.
I think this could be the first time when we don't have that false dawn. The times when we've all been brilliant and we've thought, this is it going to happen, and then it all goes tits up. I don't think that's going to happen this time.
No.
I feel, I think he's got enough players who are playing games, and their humility after the games and everything. It's just, in fact, it's scary. It's almost so good, it's scary. But yeah, I reckon we're going to walk it.
And if it does go tits up, according to Brad, I'm the one that's going to have the problem with that.
Well, you can have Brad on the show then.
Okay, I don't know. Did you both have Leeds and Southampton in your top 6?
I had Leeds second.
I think we all had Leeds. Did either of you two have Southampton?
I had Leeds second. I
think I had Southampton in the playoffs.
Because they've come back, Southampton, haven't they, Dave?
Yeah. And they will. And must have had Leeds in the playoffs. Must have.
I think you did.
Yeah.
But Southampton. I mean, Leeds had a terrible start.
I don't even know where to go. Mind you, had Coventry in the playoffs as well. So
leave it there, Dave. While you're ahead, okay, leave it. We'll go into your Coventry and Blackburn choices.
Blackburn, yeah. Oh, come on.
I took a picture. So
Oh.
top two.
Oh dear.
We all had Leicester.
Dear. We can't get away with it then, can we?
We all had Leicester to win. Chris had Sunderland. I had Leeds, and Dave had Ipswich in second.
Okay.
And then in the playoffs, Chris had Leeds, Ipswich, Swansea, and Borough. So no Southampton. I had Southampton, Ipswich, Sunderland, and Norwich. And Dave had Southampton, Leeds, Blackburn, and Cov.
So in fact, Dave should have been the other way around, according to what he said in the show. But yeah, with Leicester and Ipswich. So you two both had Southampton. I mean, they started reasonably well. Then they really had a bad run, Kate. But they've come back. Fair play to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just had a rocky start, and that's kind of what I expected us to have, to be honest. As you adjust to the league, players leaving, players coming in, I did expect us to have a stuttered start, like Leeds did as well. But it obviously didn't happen for us, and we hit the ground running. But I think Southampton they'll be there or thereabouts. The game's just, I mean, 9 points is probably quite a lot in the Premier League, but, you know, with 3 games in a week, in a lot of weeks in the Championship, you can lose those 9 points easily. And that's where we've not got to get complacent, really. Yeah.
I think somehow, Dave, that Kate will be reminding us of those choices come the end of the season. Yes. Yeah. you know, like when you sack employees just before Christmas, so you don't have to give them the Christmas bonus. End of March, Kate. You be waiting for it. End of March.
I get it in the neck, don't I? Dave, stick up for me. Come on.
Oh, I will always. You know that.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
Dave, look. Kate mentioned it at the weekend after the match, and you know, the players. And this has come from the manager, apparently. The manager said to the players, look, go right up to the edge, because Kate said they normally stay around the halfway line, you know, on away games applauding. But they went right up to them, and the manager gets everything, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think also, I don't know whether it was, I didn't see it on Saturday, but I'm assuming their enthusiasm was a bit more at the end as well, even though we won. But we've had wins where they're sort of standing around the penalty box, just, you know, pretending to clap and all that sort of thing, and not really showing any enthusiasm for the crowd. And it makes a difference. It really does. And I think that was the problem. It's difficult when you get beat and when you get humiliated, because you don't really want to, you just want to disappear. But I think they seem to appreciate the fans more now, and they're saying the right things about the fans. I think Mavadidi came out and said something after the game about how great the supporters were and how it made a difference and all that. So, and he's aware of how big the crowd. I mean, you think Man City last year, Pep was moaning the crowd, or was it the year before? I can't remember. He was moaning the crowd weren't up for it. So they're very aware of how important it is that the crowd do go for it. Yeah. And this was our problem last year, because 50, 60 minutes, we just lost interest. You know, it was so frustrating that it was kind of, I mean, the only guys that used to sing were pissed. So, you know, that's really what it was. There was no real...
Speaking from experience there, Dave.
Well, I was driving, so not me, but there's no real enthusiasm to actually get up and cheer. And that's poor.
Well, let's ask Kate, because Kate was in the crowd and Kate was watching the players. Enthusiasm from the crowd and from the players?
Yeah, first half it was pretty calm, because I think we said, didn't we? We didn't really get out of first gear. It felt a bit ploddy, a bit lacking intensity in that first half, and we needed to come out and, you know, go for an attack, like, you know, do some attacking play during the second half. And I think the sending off, definitely, because the sending off was right in front of our stand. So obviously there was a bit of handbags and what have you, and that set the crowd off a bit, really, and we didn't look back after that point. And then a chap near me ended up getting into it with a steward, So that got quite heated, and the steward had to be told to walk off because they were going to go for each other. So that was that all, and because it's such a cauldron at QPR, you're literally a metre from the pitch. You can't really walk round that easily behind the goals. It's so close. And the goalkeeper will be able to hear everything. So second half, obviously giving the Arsenal keeper, wasn't it, in goal, the grief. He could hear everything we were saying to him. And then Harry Winks just scoring that absolute beauty. Everybody just went bananas. And I think because we were so close to it, we had the whole of those two tiers behind the goal. And the atmosphere was just electric because it's an old ground and it really holds the sound well and the acoustics are awesome. And then at the end, I think because everybody got given a free Vichai scarf for the 5-year anniversary, like they were all being held high. And so when the players came over, quite a few people loved the scarves to the players, and then they were holding the scarves up. And it was just enjoying that moment because it was, I think Enzo said, didn't he? It was a really emotional week for the club. And this is the time, pick your moments. This is the time to go and embrace the fans and be in it with them, be in it together. And God, what a hero, man. Enzo he's just got it right there. He's bought into the emotion. He gets it.
Everything right, doesn't he?
Because we've said he was there the night of the crash, but to actually understand and implement and think about how the fans might feel versus what the club might feel and the importance of, what that means to the fans with Vichai's anniversary. It's amazing. It's, what a rounded individual, like Dave said earlier, humility runs through the team in buckets at the minute.
Yeah. And Dave, look, I know Dan, who is a big friend of mine, Burnley fan. I lived in Burnley for years. He said, enjoy the Championship. It's proper football and proper refereeing. And when you look at their match, 5-minute delay while they decide, have they put the lines in the right place, which they hadn't to start with in that game. It completely effed up the momentum that Burnley had at the time. While the crowd stood in the rain, waiting while they decided. Literally 5.5 minutes to make a decision. I was watching the referee with the booking, the sending off. He seemed to be sort of having a quick, 5-card shuffle because he'd got his yellow card in, his red card out, and then out, and he was shaking it all about. Yeah, exactly. And then he went over, quite rightly, spoke to the linesman. That was the longest problem, and it was obviously the worst incident. Got it right, I think, in the end, to be honest with you. But it's as much as, and I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, he was a rubbish ref," blah blah blah. But would you sooner have a rubbish ref in the Championship with no a rubbish ref with no VAR, or a rubbish ref with VAR? Because VAR doesn't help out at all, does it?
Well, I think VAR is a mess. I think we had a show on it, didn't we, last year?
Yes, we did.
And my opinion's never changed. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for those guys to call themselves officials because they haven't got a clue what they're doing. And I don't get it. I don't understand why. They've had all the rules. They've had all the things they've got to check for. They've got everything there for them. They just don't seem to be able to get it right. How can you get a line in the wrong place? I mean, but then you start me going because if you go back, I think against Wolves, was it? May have been even Connor Cody scored a goal off his arm against us. And then they said, well, it's above his shirt line. Now, where did that come from?
Yes.
It's handball. Anything below the shoulder has always been handball for hundreds of years. And then suddenly, what if he's wearing a long sleeve shirt? Because that's how stupid it was.
Oh, no, extremely.
And this just goes on. And every week I see something and it's changed.
Yeah.
They seem to change the rules or the way they interpret the rules. And that's why frustration sets in with these players.
We're going to have to get used to it, though, aren't we, Kate? Because if we go back up, it is going to be there. But I mean, I was the one that was all for it. Now I'm against it. I would be quite happy. Don't know whether you would be or not. I would be quite happy to say, right, get rid of VAR, go back to refereeing. At least if they get it wrong, we know it's human error.
Yeah, exactly. Because pre-VAR, it was more swings and roundabouts. I would say that the bigger clubs still got advantages, and the Old Trafford situation with referees and penalties. But with VAR, it's more of a conscious decision, like a conscious bad decision. Whereas in the heat at the moment with referees, the game is so fast. When you stand on the touchline watching the linesmen in a Premier League game, they need to be fit as a butcher's dog to keep up with play. So sometimes you're not going to get it right, and sometimes you're going to be behind the play. But with VAR, it's a conscious decision that's so purposeful, and it's just not being implemented correctly. And the worst decisions for me aren't so much the offsides as much; it's the penalties and the red cards. You're seeing more red cards probably than ever, which isn't what it was brought in for. And penalties are just a joke. Like, people are being hit on the hand less than a metre away from the ball. How can that possibly be deliberate? He had no idea it was being hit at him. He's a metre away. And like, common sense has just left the building with it. That's the issue. It's always played in slow motion. They freeze the frame or they play the half-speed frame. That's not what a referee should be looking at. Just play it again in real time. What do you think?
Yeah, 2 minutes to decide that they've actually got the lines in the wrong place on Saturday. And on Sunday, I don't know what happened on Sunday. Rob, good evening. How are you doing? Brand new channel, West Ham Massive there. Get over there and show him your support. We'll be playing him again next season, although will it be with Moyes in or Moyes out, Rob? I mean, how the hell can you go host? I think you're at home as well. How can you host Everton and lose? I mean, Leicester could do it, but we were awful. But you obviously is better. John is in as well. Good evening, John. How are you? Okay, Dave. I'm going to give you both this question, but I'm going to come to you first. I'm just seeing what John said here. Why can't they do VAR? They do in the Champions League. I just think you need. Well, look, it's a different show. I think we could go on all evening about that. Dave, I'm going to come to you first, and then I'm going to go to Kate with the same question. But look, Harry Winks, champion, not just Leicester, but championship signing of the summer.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
I can't think of anybody else.
But he has been. He has been massive, hasn't he?
Seems like a good bloke as well.
He does. You know, realize that's the shortest question Dave's ever answered. I'm
waiting for the cooking segment.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Ready, steady, cook.
Yeah, if you go onto the website, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see the ingredients you need for tonight. three sausages and one cat. Kate, I mean, we all love the guy, don't we? To me, I don't think there's been a better signing by any team.
No, I don't think so. And you could even say maybe you could even include possibly the Premier League in that, for the money that we've paid for him and the caliber that he's got. He's just involved in everything. He really pulls the strings, like I think we wanted Yuri to pull the strings, and he never quite got there.
No.
But Harry's he's much more versatile and much more dynamic and nimble than Yuri. His fitness is awesome. He makes himself available. I mean, he's just a natural born player for us, really. He was saying, I think, in one of his interviews last week that I saw, he said he's not enjoyed his football this much in years and years, because he just loves Enzo's style of play. He loves the team. He loves being at Leicester. He's learning so much every day, which I think all of them have said through Enzo, and he's obviously a very technical tactician. He's just incredible to watch. And I'm so pleased to see him get his first goal, because it's overdue, but thoroughly deserved. He's worked hard for it, and what an absolute belter to open your account, really.
He says here, Winks goal of the month. Might even be goal of the season, to be honest with you. It's certainly in Sky's top 5 of the weekend. Goal of the month. I mean, I've got to say, maybe second, because you got remember you got Vestergaard's goal, Kate, haven't you? And you've got to take that one into account. But look at the celebration. But look at the celebration when he scored. I don't think Emmanuelson quite got up that end of the pitch, but everybody else did.
What, for Harry, do you mean?
For Harry, yes.
Yeah. I think KDH had to drag him out of the crowd, because he may have got lost in there, but also to stop him getting booked. Like KDH literally had to tear him out of the crowd. He's obviously like, I need to keep a head on. You can't get booked. We need you for Friday. God, that I think that's what then carried into the afters when all the players came over after the game, because that goal was just flipping brilliant and it was right in front of us. And it was just electric. For those moments, it was electric. It's what you go to the football for.
It is. And Dave, Yuri-esque, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, of 2 or 3 years ago. Certainly not last year.
No, but the FA Cup goal.
Yeah. And he scored a few like that for us, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yuri. So, yeah.
We were talking before the game, Dave, that I so nearly called you Harry then. Talking before the game, Dave.
Man of the match.
It would have been it's been a long time. It's been a long time. Don't start me again. About would Enzo pick KDH or Winks? They're both one off. One yellow off being suspended, and will he? Do we need them for the Leeds game? Will he risk it? He's come out obviously and said, "Sod it." My priority is the next game. I don't care who we're playing after that, and I'm going to pick the best team for this game. And they both started him. I think he probably had a word with them, and like Kate said, maybe that's why KDH went over and was pulling them back. But yeah, I mean, fair play to Enzo for doing that.
Yeah, that would have been tragic, wouldn't it? Get a fifth booking for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. Everyone says it, but we actually do it one game at a time.
Yeah.
And he's playing so many different players that he's getting ready for when this happens. Back of his mind will be, we're going to get 6 bookings or 5 bookings or whatever. I mean, what happens next time? Is it 10 bookings, isn't it, by a certain date? And then you get a 2-match ban, and then 15 bookings from a certain date and 3 matches. So it's still building up.
Somewhere along the line.
Yeah, it used to, but I don't think it does anymore.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I'm sure that
that's hard on defenders, isn't it? I mean, you don't get enough getting 15 bookings in a season, but that's only getting 1 booking every 3 matches as a centre back.
That's right. But I think it is a points totaling up system, which it never used to be. You're right. They used to say if you didn't get booked 5 times by a certain date, we'll wipe that off and start again. But anyway, it's going to happen. We're going to get suspended,
Dave. And if you look back at matches, and Kate's too young to remember these, but us old gits, back to the 70s, you could kick 7 bells out of somebody and not get a booking. So 5 bookings a season was probably quite bad.
That was the 90s as well. It's gradually been ironed out, which I'm not sure I'm all for, but.
I'm thinking Chelsea Leeds and games like that, which were before your time, and that is a compliment. Take it. You say I've been horrible to you. I'm giving you a compliment there.
That's scary.
You can't win, can you, Dave?
I think they did. Somebody re-referee it and said there'd be about 5 sendings off and 20 bookings, something like that. But I'm not surprised. But I just think some of the bookings are pathetic, and you can get booked for doing something in one game and then get away with it the next, and that's the other thing. There is no consistency. We always moan about that, but there isn't. And referees depend what mood they're in as to whether they book them. And this is why not hounding the referee is so important now, because he's a human being. He will book you if you piss him off.
Yep.
That's been going on all the time. So it's not going to change. No. I mean, they make it up, don't they? If they want to book you, no more than 3 people approach the referee or 2 people approach the referee.
Well, that is the law, I think, now, isn't it?
Well, I've only seen it once.
Yeah.
I've only seen a guy get booked once for being the 3rd man. So where's that gone? All sorts of stuff like that. So it's random, and you're pretty unlucky. And I don't think Winks. I think the 1 or 2 of his bookings he probably shouldn't have got, really. So we just enjoy him on Fridays, Kate said, and then just worry about it later, because he'll get booked on Friday.
Well, we say that, but Kate is an old. He's got he's not like he's an 18-year-old. He's been around the block, isn't he? And he knows what he's doing, and he probably won't be as silly as maybe other players will be.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends, doesn't it? Because a booking can be as silly as pulling a shirt, maybe, or over celebrating or whatever. Some of these silly bookings that come about, but some of them can just be hacking a guy down on the break in what you'd probably call a good foul, and you think, do you know what? Yeah, you take that because they're on the break and they're the turners part. So Enzo won't be saying to him or KDH like take it easy or watch yourself. He's very much just play as you play, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and they'll be targeting them, both of them. They'll be trying to get them booked early on, so it's on their mind. And they know they'll miss a game, which could be 3 points. That could benefit Leeds. There's lots of little things like that that'll be going on. And I'm sure we'll do the same thing.
It is.
And the thing is, who's the guy that... Is it Somerville? Jimmy Somerville scored 2 for them for Leeds on Saturday.
Jimmy Somerville was a singer.
I know. Don't leave me this way.
Leave me this way.
Is that him?
It was definitely Somerville, though, wasn't it? I'm sure.
You're getting your 2 jobs crossed over.
Yeah, Somerville. Oh, his nickname is Crescencio.
Yeah, well, I couldn't pronounce that.
Also known as Jimmy.
Jimmy, yeah.
Jimmy. Well, I thought he's done well for himself since he gave up the singing, hasn't he?
He's going to be tough. It's going to be tough marking him, and whoever it is, he's going to get booked. If it's Ricardo, if it's Hamza on the other side, it's going to happen.
There's no point worrying about it. I think.
No, that's right.
The controllables. You can't worry about stuff. Like I didn't think Enzo would change it on Saturday because that's his game plan. Yeah,
you've got to get each point when you get it and worry about the next one then. We got players to come. I mean, like same with James, is it? Whatever his Christian name is. I mean, he's a little shit. So if you're marking him, you're going to get booked, aren't you? Yeah. I would imagine that's the first tackle you put in.
Well, like we said, they're 14 points behind. If they win on Friday, they're still 11 points adrift.
Yeah.
If they lose on Friday, psychologically, not just the fact that they're going to be another 3 points behind us, it's the effect psychologically it has on them. And as well, we're playing first, as we are on Friday, Ipswich will be there thinking, well, if Leeds can beat Leicester, then we can win at the weekend. That's another, then they still got the game in hand. That would then put them above us.
And to be fair, Plymouth gave them a good run on Saturday, Ipswich, didn't they?
They did.
I thought Plymouth might win. Yeah, I mean, it was... they did all right, and Plymouth don't play well away from home. So, there's the signs of the crack appearing.
But Brad was very, very relieved because they did say that if Plymouth beat Ipswich, you'd have to eat a Gangster's pasty live on air.
I don't think there's anything wrong with them.
And he hates them.
Yeah, but what? I don't know why.
He's like half Cornish, though. Well, anyway, before you start getting onto food, let's we've done a quick test and we come back.
The Premier League? That's so last season. It's all about the Championship here on LTID TV.
Now that's what I call football.
You hit the right spot.
And anyway, Brad likes coconut.
Let's not go there. Who was listening when we were talking before we came live? Who can remember, I'm going to test you both now, how many different goal scorers we've had this season?
Teacher's pet.
I don't think I know now. I'm doubting myself.
Did you white shirts, Dave? Just think white shirts, mate.
White shirts, yeah. 12.
You're going for 12. Were you listening? I don't know.
13. I thought it was 13.
I've got to say, Dave, you were wrong. Well done, Kate. It was 13. Hey, there we go.
Yeah, I let her win.
Yeah. She's like the cat that got the cream.
He hit the
post. Talking about the cat that got the cream, Dave.
I can't even see that.
Just what do you think you're doing, Dave?
I tell you, I wish I could.
Come on.
Can I just say that I haven't just come up with the thought that that's the thing that I imagine Dave sat on the floor licking his private.
I'm concerned that's what you think during the daytime, and what do you think at night? Right?
Just say what your YouTube account was called.
That's just El Pusso, that's all.
Well, there you go then.
It's the goalkeeper, the cat. It's Spanish for cat.
Yes, if you insist.
In English, anyway.
So I'm not. No, let's move on.
No.
Yeah, 13 different goal scorers. We were saying at the start of the season, well, all right, we're signing this Tom Cannon, but he's injured. Daka's not performing. What happens if Vardy or Inacho get injured, or when Inacho goes off to the African Cup of Nations? Kate, we don't need strikers, do we?
No, not at all. I don't think that's the way Enzo particularly plays either. We can see there from the top goal scorer in KDH, like he wanted KDH to move forward to get himself into opportunities, and he has done. He's taken that on board massively. Yeah. Someone's just said in the chat down there that he's come on since Madders has departed, and that might be the case. Harry's kind of sits behind him a bit, and he's free to kind of roam and get into the box a bit more, which he's obviously doing. But yeah, 13 goal scorers is immense, isn't it?
Yes.
Again, the Man City way, isn't it? Playing without a striker.
It is, but if somebody asked me, I don't know if it was the Stoke guy or whatever, saying who's going to be your biggest threat, in front of the goal, and I'm like, I can name you 11, and that includes the goalkeeper. It is. You look at that, and just threat, and that's the thing. As an opposition defender, Dave. Who am I going to mark? Because if I mark him, he'll score. And if I mark him, he'll score over there. It's a great position to be in, that we're not relying on one person.
Yeah, and I think also it makes the opposition nervous about going forward too much. And, that they try and close us down and we deal with it. We're going to screw up occasionally, and we have done. But not so much recently, have we? We seem to have got that, touch wood, sorted out a little bit. Away from Southampton and Blackburn and wherever it did go wrong. So hopefully they're getting used to that now and becoming more confident. But no, what it does, it uses up the opposition's midfield and defence. They've got to pick everybody up. They can't afford anybody to be free. And that's such a wonderful thing to have. You think back, even when we were playing all right, it was Daka or Vardy up front that you had to worry about, and maybe Kel when he came on. But it was never, there's 3 or 4 guys here we could have problems with, because Maddison was always playing too far left. So when he came in, he did, but he did a lot of wasted things as well as good things. So there's never a real focus on it. Now everyone knows what they're doing. And they've only been together for what? Did you say 14 games or something?
14 14 plus a couple in the Caribou Cup. And those goals, by the way, they're not just league goals. They include the Caribou Cup as well.
Can you imagine after 30 games what we're going to be like?
Yeah. Oh, you almost like there's a penalty. Do you remember that? The last time we won the championship, I think we got a penalty in the last game against Doncaster, and everybody was shouting for Schmeichel to go and take it so that he could claim a goal on his record.
So was Schmeichel. He did score a goal, actually, didn't he? Do you remember that? The referee did. Casper. It was a header.
It was actually given to him, was it?
It wasn't. Given to him,
no, it wasn't. But it was clearly over the line.
It was his goal, I think, but it unfortunately didn't go down. But just to show who the sort of important players are, if you like, because they're tied out. This is the assists this season. And when it comes to assists, you've got Dewsbury Hall. Top of the pile again. And then, Mavadidi you would expect, Ndidi, and then the rest of them is like 1 assist each. But Dewsbury Hall, Kate, are we going to struggle to keep hold of him come January?
No chance. No chance, I don't think, unless the Liverpool rumours were true. It's only that type of club that I think could entice him. But he's a Leicester boy. He's enjoying his football again. He's really learning some stuff with Enzo, better in his game every match, I feel like. That couldn't happen, could it?
That may happen in the summer. Is that what you said? The summer or winter or Christmas?
He said January initially.
I said January.
It may happen in the summer because he's paid us back in his mind. You know, he's got us promoted, and that's his aim this year. It won't happen at Christmas.
Just hope they all watch the Danny Drinkwater podcast before they make it.
Yes. Do you think, Dave, you're saying about the summer, and it could really depend on where we are. I mean, if we are promoted, whether that's champions or second, I thought Kate was going to give you a kiss, man. She moved so far forward over to you. Did you
notice?
Dave's next to me, just here. Dave's next to me here.
Yes. If only David moved across at the same time, that would have been clip-worthy.
Didn't flinch, Chris, did I?
Well, he's that used to having beautiful women. That's what it is. You know what these chefs are like.
Because I'm nice to her.
But come the summer, I mean, if we get promoted, and it looks like we will be doing, but if we get promoted and we're in the Premier League, Dewsbury Hall may look at it and say, well, am I going to gain anything by going to Liverpool? As yes, all right, I might win trophies, get to the Champions League, etc. But am I going to be playing regularly? Well, if I stay at Leicester, now we're in the Premier League, I'm getting, I'm going to be seen by Gareth Southgate, or I might be wearing the wrong colour shirt again. But, but if we don't go up, then we could lose him in the summer, Dave.
Well, I think we would if we don't go up. But I think if we do go up, there's a chance. Realistically, he's not a young lad anymore, is he? And he's, if you look at it coldly, away from being a fan, you'd think we're not going to win the title again. It's unlikely we're going to get into the Champions League again. Heskey moved on. Didn't think he would. To be fair, I mean, the older I've got, the more kind of forgiving I've become.
Wumpy. Sorry, forgiving. That was what you're going to say. Sorry.
So I understand it more now. Before I'd have thought, how dare you? When Shilton moved, how dare you? You're Leicester. But now, yeah, of course. I mean, Vardy is just a different person altogether. Yeah. I mean, that's been incredible.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen very often.
No.
Lineker, home club. As soon as Everton came sniffing around.
Mind you, I think with Lineker, I think we encouraged him to go, didn't we? Because we needed the money. We used to have to sell one good player a season to survive in them days.
Bought Mark Bright. That was a classic.
Yeah. Well, yes. Right, quiz number 2 for you both. 5 players have we'll turn Google off here, Kate. 5 players have played 14 games in the league this season. So they've played in every league game. How many of the 5 can you name? How many do you think you can name, Kate?
Oh, goodness.
Just give me a number for now.
Oh, 4.
4. Oh, she's going for 4. Dave, are you going to make a name those 4, or are you going to say you can do 5?
Oh, I was going to say 1.
Okay.
I was just going to ask if I got a bonus if I got it right.
You'll get the other one, will you?
Yeah.
You were. Anyway, as this is a tag team question. Okay, you said 4. Name 4.
Harry Winks.
Okay.
Mads.
Who, sorry?
Hermansen, Mads, the goalkeeper.
Hermansen, right, okay.
Dewsbury Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And
sorry, I'm going to actually rephrase this. I believe, as I think
outfield.
I'm going to say out. Well, I'm trying to remember what I did here, because I think this may be name me 5 outfield players that have played 14 games this season.
League games this season.
I left that off because I'm not 100% sure. So I'll give you either or.
Oh, okay. So KDH, Harry Winks, 14 games this season.
To be fair, she said
Vardy,
she'd said 4.
Go on then. What's your one then, Dave?
Well, Harry Winks.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, the 14 are, and I apologise because I couldn't remember whether this was
the goalpost here. We moved the
No,
goalpost.
VAR.
VAR rubbish.
Oh, it's a good job there's nothing at stake then, isn't it? With 14, Kieran Dewsbury Hall, Harry Winks, Jamie Vardy, Kelechi Iheanacho, Steffi Mavadidi. They've played 14 games, and I'm thinking, therefore, it's going to be including the Carabao Cup. On 13, it's Ricardo Pereira, Mads Hermansen, Yannick Vestergaard.
Yeah, that includes the cups then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mads didn't play in the Mickey Mouse Cup.
Yeah. And then, I think, is somebody keep making noises at me?
Well, I think you're doing a button at me, aren't you?
That's what it sounds like, doesn't it? I mean, if you'd have said to me, Kate, at this stage of the game that Jamie Vardy would have been even featured in 14 and be equal top, I wouldn't have believed you.
Me neither.
And why wouldn't you believe them?
Because...
Oh, there we go. Go on then, Kate. You said you don't believe. Why not? Go on.
No, I mean, the only reason he didn't play last year is because the manager was an idiot.
Last year, and I think a lot of people can prejudge. And when you come into a team brand new and you think this guy's going to be 37 this season, he's just not going to cut it, or not going to keep pace, or whatever injury comes in or whatever. You'd think, do you know what? He'll get 15 minutes once every 3 matches, and hopefully that will tick him over enough, and he's still got a contract, etc. But
yeah,
shown that clearly his fitness and his training isn't an issue.
No, and you speak to him for an hour when you first start, because Vardy would be the first person you go and see as a new manager, and you say, right, you know, what happened between you and me? What's your opinion? How's your fitness? You got a few injuries last year. How are they? Didn't play much, you know. Well, he'd tell them. He said, you know,
where can we get value from you?
And my aim is to get Leicester promoted. That is, you know, all I want to do.
And more we're kind of seeing that ilk of player.
Yeah.
Because I think Rio Ferdinand famously said that Ronaldo was the first person he ever knew to have his own chef, and now every player has their own chef. You're kind of seeing that ilk of player come through the ranks now, where they've looked after themselves so well for the whole of their career. Obviously, JP's a bit different, but he's had Rolls-Royce treatment for the past 11 years, that it does give you a longer career.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look at me and Chris.
Exactly. Still going strong. Still the pillars.
Well, I won't go that far. But Dave, it's an excellent point. I think for me, because I presume that it would be, you know, he'd be playing 90 minutes in the, you know, midweek or 90 minutes at the weekend. But Enzo's come in very cleverly, and whoever he plays 60 minutes, say midweek, gets the 30 minutes at the weekend, and vice versa. And that's how he seems to be swapping players around, and it's working very well. Yeah,
and you know the whole point is we won't have 15 players; we'll have 20 players or more who are good enough to play straight in, and that's what you want. And that's, you know, it's everyone. Well, the manager keeps saying it's a long season. We're going to lose more games. It's going to happen, but we've got to be ready for it. And when winter comes, it's going to be tough. And some of these players don't want to know when it's cold and wet and frosty and all that. They really don't. You can tell that.
Well, you could say, Dave, that when the going gets tough,
the tough get going. You're right. Yeah.
Sorry, couldn't resist. But do you think, Dave, that I'll stick with you for this one? With Jamie Vardy, we have to, you know, it's a different Jamie Vardy this season. It's not going to be the 20 goal a season striker. You know, he might not get that many for us, but is he offering us more off the ball now under Enzo than he did at the end under Brendan Rodgers?
No, I think he offered us stuff off the ball then. He just didn't get a game. You know, he'd come on with 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. It was never, I don't know. He wasn't supported either. I don't know what it was like Saturday, but you certainly notice now, instead of him shutting the keeper down like he did last year and nobody else was there, so he's kind of, what's the point? Now the midfielder coming up with him and closing down there. So it makes it more effective. And, you know, he had no support at all. I mean, he never got much ball anyway from people last year. He was always trying to make things happen on his own. You noticed part of last year, he was playing a lot of good stuff when he got on, but not necessarily where he should have been in the box. So, no, I don't think he's changed that much. Certainly, probably mentally he has, because now he's enjoying it as well.
Yeah.
You know, you can see that. And it makes he was just pretending to enjoy it last year out of respect.
Okay. We're listening to the commentary at the weekend, and I think after about 25, 30 minutes, the commentator said that Vardy had probably only touched the ball twice, maybe 3 times. And last season, that I think would have worried me more than it does this season. Because like Dave said before, there was only him up there. So if he is, you know, if he's not getting the ball, then who's going to score the goals for us? Where now, you know, there are other players going forward. So the fact that he's not getting a touch on the ball doesn't mean that he's not doing anything, because yes, he could be running, but then at least there's other players coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. The first half was really poor from an attacking perspective anyway. I think we were saying at the game that he hadn't really touched the ball at all much in the first half, but we hadn't really had that many sort of big attacks at all in that first half. It was too cagey, it was lacking intensity, and it was a bit dry at times. Whereas the second half, we clearly changed gear, utilised him a lot more. We're doing lots more passes around the fringe area of the penalty box, 1-2s, etc. Mavadidi and KDH were linking up quite nicely a lot. And then when Nacho came on, they had that 10-minute period where they came on and they were together, which was really good to see. Vardy just kept taking 3 defenders with him, leaving Nacho wide open. It was so good to see that, because most people would hedge your bets on I'd rather mark Vardy than stay with Nacho, because you just know that Vardy's got that quality in him, which is why he's still our number one striker and why no one surpassed him in being first choice. He still took those players with him, and Nacho was able to, offload to the wing or run through the middle. Vardy is such an underrated, intelligent footballer. I think because of his attitude sometimes, and he's a bit rough around the edges, people never give him credit for that. His football stuff's awesome. He's got a football brain, and he's world class. Even Haaland was talking about him a few weeks ago, saying there's no one who does the runs better in the world than Jamie Vardy.
Yes. Yeah, I thought she was going to talk about us then, Dave, when she said underrated and intelligent. I thought, let's get ready.
Was that rated? Yeah, and unintelligent.
Unintelligent.
Yes, unintelligent and overrated. Yeah. That's us, Dave.
That's what the wife says. Yeah.
That's our stage name. Like Morecambe and Wise. Yeah. It's underrated. Okay, let's get back online. Right, okay, so I want to talk. So what's Paul just come in and said? Leicester strength in depth has helped pick up massive points when they're, exactly. It's being managed the right way. And all I'm going to say is I would have dreaded to have thought of Brendan Rodgers trying to manage us this season. I really, really would. Right, Sheffield United got promoted last season. I think it was second, weren't they? And they're now bottom of the Premier League. Not doing very well. Let's be honest. Lost 5-0 to Arsenal at the weekend. And in their defence was one Mr. Luke Thomas on loan from Leicester. Now, I guess, we weren't to know how badly Sheffield United were going to do. But Dave, is there some argument for saying, like, recalling him? I mean, is that not just going to destroy his confidence? And all right, he may not come back because we may not play to his strengths, a bit like Christensen. But it's lost 9 of their 10 games. They've conceded 29 goals in that's nearly 3 goals a game that they are conceding. If you're a defender in that game, I mean, this is the guy that's played in Europe. This is the guy who told Vardy to get out of the way so he could score against Man United. We're going to get back damaged goods, as I say there, aren't we?
Well, he's used to it. Put it that way. He had it last season. I don't know. Sometimes you can be detached when it's not your club, and you can see things differently. I mean, they're conceding all those goals. He's still getting picked, isn't he? Which says something. He's playing Premier League football, which is quite surprising, really, because he couldn't get in Leicester's team very often anyway last year.
He was the season before, though.
He was, and then suddenly he was out of favour. I think the crowd got on him a little bit as well last year, which didn't help. Seems to be full-backs, doesn't it? We don't like too much. I don't know, Chris, is the answer. I don't think it's going to do him any good, certainly his confidence, but I think the fact that, he's still playing Premier League football will be a benefit. If we want another full-back.
Well, this is the question. Like I say, I don't know whether he fits into Enzo's plans, but
he's a left-sided fullback.
Sorry?
He's left-sided, isn't he? I don't know whether he's left-footed so much, but I
think he's left-footed, yeah, and that's an advantage. Yeah. England youth player, though, Kate, I mean, this, minus 22 goal difference, 1 point. I mean, he's not going to be coming back thinking, well, let's say we get promoted. I just wonder what state he's going to be coming back in. And I think he's being picked because they haven't got exactly a lot of choice, to be honest with you.
Say again, sorry.
I think he's being picked because they haven't got a lot of choice because of injuries and what have you.
Yeah, and they couldn't go out into the market at the time and spend absolutely loads of money. So they've gone for an option that's the cheaper option, that's on paper an experienced Premier League player. And I thought for us, when he had to come in during our injury time, where we were just struggling to put a back four together, really, he really held his own, and he was fairly consistent and steady. A steady Eddie, you would probably say. He didn't set the world alight. Then over time, and I feel like Brendan didn't probably manage him enough, and he's probably a player that needs an arm around his shoulder. His lack of physicality wasn't made up for in other areas to me last year in the end. Like he just got overwhelmed a bit, and they often put 2 men on that side to, overpower him because it was a fairly straightforward thing to do. So you don't want to beat the guy down at all, but it might be that it's the making of him, and it's time for his career to end at Leicester and go elsewhere eventually, where he will play regularly and because he's an asset. He's obviously a really good trainer. He's got a good attitude. He's thought of in the England setup. But I just can't see him featuring for us if things go to plan. But Enzo is really keen to get another left-footed player if we don't keep hold of Doyle.
And you don't think he would be the answer for us?
I don't think so. I don't think think he's physical enough.
No. Dave, moving on. Who's in control of clubs these days? Managers, players, as in, deciding who's at clubs. Do players have too much power? Should we be feeling sorry for them? Are we going to say, sympathy for Danny Drinkwater, as I think, fuck off, mate, you got what you deserve. If you burst into a meeting and demand, cause a scene and demand that you want to leave, get what you get what you sow what you reap, is it the saying?
Even reap what you sow.
That one as well. Both of them, in fact. Yes.
What's that about being intelligent?
Go for it, Kate. You owe him one.
Fair
No,
play. I'll take that one on the chin.
Right. Can I do it in the order of your questions, please?
Yes, certainly.
First one, yes. Second one, no. And the third one, possibly.
What were the questions?
No
what
idea.
order did I put the questions?
No, players are in control. They have been ever since those salaries became stupid. They, unfortunately, managers are not managers anymore. They're head coaches. So they have no power. There's too many. Once you split up a job, i.e. director of football, head coach, second in command coach, or something else, and don't have a manager, then the players take over. And that's what's happened. And Danny Drinkwater, no, I didn't. I felt he was a bit of an ass when he moved to Chelsea. Was it 35 million?
Yeah.
And I think the fact that it happened last minute, so it didn't let us get anybody in, made it even worse for me. And I feel sorry for him if he's got personal problems. I heard one stupid thing: his dog died or something. Well, that fuck's that, you know. But you know, you can't have any sympathy with the guy. The money he's earned, the chance he had to play a sport that he loves, and he went and blew it. And unfortunately, I am one of those people who say they should be grateful to be able to play football for money, whether it lasts 5 years or 10 years. So no sympathy at all.
I mean, Kate, feel sorry for him. I absolutely don't feel any sympathy or feel sorry for him in any way at all. In fact, I find it quite funny as to where he's ended up, because I didn't, to be honest with you, I don't even think he was that good. You know, he was actually. I thought Matty James was the better of the two when they were together in the championship. I thought it was Kanté that made him look good, and as soon as Kanté left, and as I say, that was the end of him. Maybe he realised that, and that's why he was begging for a move. But you know, I find it quite funny that you think the grass is greener. You'd go in and demand your move. Okay, well, you got your move. We got 35 million. We made a profit on you. Who was the one that was begging to come back, to the club? He was.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any sympathy for him in the sense that you've paid your money, you take your choice. That's what you did, and that's what I personally don't think I can blame any player for wanting to leave a club for a better offer, which was Chelsea at the time. I can never slag him off for that. What I think clubs need to learn is when you've got a player that wants to leave, and this is where I get frustrated with clubs as a whole. If you want to leave your job, it doesn't matter whether you're a multi-millionaire footballer or a bin man. If you want to leave your job, you should be able to leave it and say, here's my notice, and I can leave. And that's a different argument about how the transfer window works. But if Danny Drinkwater's coming to you at the start of the window saying, look, I want to leave, and Leicester have held firm like we notoriously do, then you kind of screw yourselves over if you've left it till the last day. And then I think there's 50-50 to blame there for that.
I don't, because he was the one that signed the contract. If he wants to leave, or he does, yes, if I want to leave, I will give a notice and I will walk out. I'll give 4 weeks notice. Well, let's have it so that players have to give 2 months notice if they want to leave a club. They sign the contract. They're happy to sign a 5-year contract because it gives them security.
Hang on,
when they can't walk out after 3 because
no
clubs come in.
Hang on, mate. You're arguing against yourself on that one, because you're the biggest argument was that Tielemans didn't sign a contract and then went off and left us without any transfer money. So and Harry Maguire did sign a contract, behaved professionally, and left with us having a lot of money for him. So you can't have it both ways, really.
Well, I can, because Yuri Tielemans didn't sign the contract.
No.
What I was saying was I wanted him to. Whether he left or not was a different matter, because like Harry Maguire, he could have signed a contract and said, if a team offers X amount of money, I'm allowed to talk to them and sign for them. But at least it would mean we would get some money. I think with Tielemans was the fact that he ran it down so that we didn't get any money. well, my argument with Drinkwater is that he was happy to sign a 5-year contract, but then after 3 years, let's say, I don't know the ins and outs of his personal contract, but players in general are happy to sign 5-year contracts to give them security. But then, all right, let's look at Fofana. Injured, yes, I'll sign a new contract. Thank you very much, because I'm injured and I'm not playing, and that gives me security. Oh, but as soon as Chelsea come in for me, I'm going to go on strike. I'm going to sit in the home end watching the mobile phone rather than the game, and not even applaud when James Maddison scores a screamer.
I think it's just typical of football as it's becoming, that the system on and off the field is broken. And I think transfer markets should be treated really differently from, say, the one end of the league spectrum to the other end of the league spectrum. Because guys in League Two are perhaps earning 50 grand a year. It's a different kettle of fish about why they need to earn money and sign contracts to protect their income. You shouldn't really be in a position where you need to protect your income if you want 200 grand a week. It's ridiculous. So that there needs to be a change in rules and alignment with the wealth, that's how the wealth dynamics spread throughout the leagues, really. But Drinky, you've made your choice, you've made your bed, and you have to live with it. What annoys me more about Drinkwater is that he's retired, and he said that a championship clubs came in for him this year and he didn't feel that burn. And that just sums him up as a player. Like, I think a lot of players out there know how short their careers are. And a championship team is still a bloody good level of football. Yeah. And you've got 18 months to 2 years left probably of your career. Just flipping take. If you love football that much, take it. But the upshot was he was a bit fancy pants. He always has been. He's always been one of those, how does it look to people? How do I look to people? Do I look cool or fashionable? He's always been that type of player. And I bet unfashionable clubs were coming in, but if it was Jamie Vardy or whoever and they still wanted to have their careers, they'd sign for that club. It's a championship club. So he's clearly got some demons and he's got some big regrets, and he won't be able to do anything about that now. And it's sad to see he might have mental health.
I lived in Burnley for many years, and I saw Paul Gascoigne play at Burnley. I saw Ian Wright play at Burnley. Neither of them it didn't work out because their brains were just too good for that standard. No disrespect to Burnley players, but you can see Paul Gascoigne trying to do things, and the players are going like, we can't do that sort of thing. But Dave, if Danny Drinkwater goes in and knocks on the manager's door and says, "Excuse me, I'd like to ask for a transfer, please," and the club say no, then surely he should accept that, because he signed that contract for however many. Let's say, there's another 2 years to run.
I don't know.
Or he goes and says, "Can I have a transfer, please?" And they say no, and he says, "Okay, well, I'll run the contract down. Then it's fine." But if you said no, forcing and causing a scene to force a move, wrong.
I think it's a completely different employment issue to normal jobs. It can't possibly be treated the same, because if we sign a contract for a company we work for, as Kate said, we give them notice and we clear off, go to a better job. Footballers can't do that. Now, whether you agree with the Mahrez strike or anybody else, I think depends on what they've done for you. I don't know. I just think football is a one-off, and players think they're better than they are. They think they should be performing at a higher level when they're probably not going to be able to sustain it.
I mean, Kante, for example, all right, at the time I'm thinking like, well, you rapped, sort of thing. But when he signed, he said, "Yes, I will sign for you, but I want it in the contract that if somebody pays this amount of money, I can leave." Now, we wanted him enough to say we will agree to that.
Yeah. And there was no fuss there, was there?
No.
I mean, it almost went under the radar if it possibly could. But then I think the problem is a lot of these players look at other sports and think, I mean, was it some guy this week, Magic Johnson, is it a basketball player?
Billionaire.
A billion. I mean, how the hell does that work, for God's sake? I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? He's a sportsman, happens to be 7 foot tall. I mean, it's Michael Jordan, he sold trainers and became a billionaire or a millionaire. I mean, it's nonsense. So Drinkwater and players like that want to do the same. Why would they go off to Saudi? To be fair, I mean, nobody would they play football if it wasn't for the fact the wallets were bulging. And
I mean, excuse me, Jordan Henderson's gone over there to help improve football, and those 690 people that watch him every week, I'm sure, are doing that.
Yeah.
But I've got to say, Kate,
60,000 at Wembley knew that, didn't they?
Yes, exactly. But Kate, you do we then have to say, well, all right, we put a maximum length on a contract, or do we start putting transfer caps in place?
I hate the transfer windows and everything they're about. All it does, especially the January one, is just make silly money go round, and it's lining the wrong pockets. But I do think yearly rolling contracts would be the way to go. Like NFL, whilst they have longer term contracts, you don't get paid part of it until you conclude the season before. Like Patrick Mahomes has just got paid for the 25-26 season, I think, is how he's working it for the Kansas City Chiefs. So they don't get paid until they complete 13 years and they tick it off, if you like. But I'd like to see yearly rolling contracts, and the same for managers.
Yes.
People like Alan Pardew getting sacked with 6 years to go on his contract at Newcastle is an absolute joke. It's absolute nonsense, and it's just financial suicide for the wrong club.
I think you also got to say it was stupid whoever gave him that deal. But for the likes of clubs like Watford, Dave, I mean, rolling contracts is so sensible. I agree. I thought I'd say this, but I agree 100% with Kate. Rolling contracts is a damn good idea. Yes, for managers. I hadn't thought about it for players, but yes, for players as well. It saves a lot of money because, if you're having a bad season, you're not having any sack your manager, or if you're Bristol City, you just sack them anyway, or the best Nigel. You don't have to pay out ridiculous amounts of compensation, which you shouldn't do to somebody who's absolutely rubbish at the job. Otherwise, they wouldn't be being sacked.
Oh, yeah. I think the problem is that you've got owners now who don't know what they're doing. And I think the problem is managers are more insecure now than they've ever been. Nigel Pearson is a classic example. He's 5 points or 6 points or something outside the playoffs. He's better than Norwich, who are tipped for promotion, better than Millwall, Coventry, who are my favourites, better than Watford,
who are losing 1-0 according to John.
Are they? Are they? Excellent. 2 points or 3 points, not many points behind Borough, who have been on a fantastic run. Ahead of another favourite to go up, Blackburn. And
your favourite, not favourites. You just say your favourite.
And you think of their results. They've lost to us 1-0. And I think they lost to Leeds and Ipswich by the odd goal. I mean, they weren't hammered by them. So, and they've sacked him, an experienced manager who's used to getting teams promoted. And they've sacked him because they were looking to be at the top end of the table now.
Having given him no money to spend.
So who's favourite to take the job? That dickhead who went from Luton to Southampton.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
Who's that?
The Welshman. Nathan Jones. He's been gone too long, hasn't he, really? Oh, I like that one.
I never I've always worried about Nathan Jones, since Aqua stopped singing about him.
He's been gone too long.
Very quickly before we come on to questions from the chat, we did look
answer your question.
Sorry?
Did I answer your question?
You did. Okay. So just very quickly, moving on reading this out, because I just thought this was extremely funny. On the Rest is Football podcast, Mika Richards talking to Alan Shearer and Gary Lineker. And have you seen the Colleen Rooney documentary, asked Mika Richards on the Rest is Football podcast. So obviously Wayne Rooney is the Birmingham City manager and Jamie Vardy at Leicester. So I'm looking forward to the clash. I know Rooney's not started very well. To which, and I've got to say, fair play to you, Alan Shearer. He responded, when do they play? When is that match? It better be soon, or Rooney might be sacked if he doesn't win a game soon. He's had 3 out of 3 defeats, hasn't he? I mean, Kate, that is, I mean, not always Shearer's biggest fan, but I mean, whoa, he hit the nail on the head, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm relishing this game, I have to say, and part of me really hopes that Rooney is still there. But yeah, given Birmingham's history, I mean, they gave their previous manager, 10 games this season. So Rooney's a third of the way through that tenure and he's not got a point yet. And he got booed, I think, after the second game. He got quite a lot of stick from the home fans after the second game. So, yeah, he doesn't... Yeah, he's not doing good things at the minute. But I'm relishing that game and I think it'll be fireworks in some capacity.
And he's whinging already at the referees.
Yeah. Rooney was the king of it, wasn't he?
Do you not think, Dave? Do you not think Rooney's put a bit of weight on? Anyway, moving.
Chunky monkey, isn't he?
Sure, I saw him smoking drugs allegedly the other day. But now in his 3 games in charge, he lost to Southampton 3-1, he lost to Hull 2-0, and he lost to Middlesbrough 1-0. Well done, Birmingham City. He was obviously the man for the job.
I think, to be fair, perhaps 1 or 2 results went against him against Saints. But
let's not be too fair. This is Wayne Rooney we're talking.
And it's going to happen because he's such a twat. That,
you've been rather nice then.
Yeah, referees will target.
Get off that fence, Dave.
Okay.
1 minute 21. I'll make say what you think, Dave. Not say what you see. This isn't catchphrase. Yeah. What's Mr. Chips doing now?
He's eating the chips. That's what he's doing.
It's good.
I can't clip this. My lawyers aren't. I've got big enough pockets.
No,
sorry, I mean, Dave, you were going to say.
Anyway, the point was originally with Pearson is that there's probably about 10, 15 managers doing worse than he is.
Yes,
and he got sacked.
Yeah.
And is that the 6th manager gone this year?
Well, obviously QPR lost theirs, didn't they?
Yeah.
Saturday night.
I mean, that I can kind of understand because that goes back to last season for 15, 20 games, doesn't it?
The only thing with Nigel that I must admit I do wonder, you just don't know with Nigel what's gone on behind the scenes, do you?
I can imagine from what he said, he's fed up with them pissing about with his new contract. So I reckon that's more about it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure he must have told probably the director about where he could put his ostrich head, but let's not think about that.
You just know where you are with Nigel, though, don't you? That's what I like about that kind of person. You know exactly where you are with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Not like with Brendan. Brendan will be stabbing you in the back behind closed doors somewhere.
Yeah.
And feather in his own nest. But Nigel just says it how it is, and you take it or you leave it.
And I know the guy that runs it. Is it British? Is he or something? But the trouble is with these foreign owners, they ain't going to like it. They don't like to be told, and they're very successful businessmen, and they don't like to be told that they don't know what they're talking about in football. And Nigel's one of those classic managers and players who would tell them that. You know, let me run the team.
Do you know what, Dave? United Nations don't know what they're missing with you, do they? You know, Ukraine, Israel is calling out for your diplomatic language.
Well, they don't like it up them, do they? Eh?
Definitely needs clipping.
God, it's going again, isn't it? All right, let's quickly get on to viewers' questions for the panel. Non-food ones. John, to go to you for this one first, Kate. How far in the process does the panel think we are? What percentage?
Oh, gosh, I think 20 to 30, I would say. Given what Enzo said about his intentions, the fact that a lot of the players that we've got are on loan, remember, so there's lots of hard work to be done again in the summer. We're only a third of the way through the season.
Are you banging your hand, Kate?
Sorry?
Are you banging your hand on the desk or something?
No, was I? I was mucking about with something, sorry.
Really?
Yeah, so 20
Can't get away with anything in this show, can you? Daddy Dave's there. He's watching.
It's not working with children. Anyway, 20 to 30% is my answer, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right on that because we've got so far to go still. But I think the fact that we've done so well, we've had a lot of luck as well. Let's not get it wrong. We've had moments where it's all come our way, which is unusual for Leicester. But we could say, well, yeah, we've had some good lucky moments. But yeah, 25%.
Daddy agrees with you, Kate. Daddy's proud.
Just stop banging.
Daddy doesn't like banging.
No. Move on. You first with this one, Dave. Very quickly. Moving on. Is this Vardy's farewell bow or farewell tour? He says here. Bowing to the crowd in every game. What do you think?
I think it shows how confident he is, and I think he's going back to how he was, with the famous eagle at Palace and that sort of stuff. I think he's just having a great time, and yeah, I think it is his farewell tour as well. I'd be surprised, although I think Kate said last week, was it week 4, he probably signed a new contract in the Premier League. Do you reckon, just to give it another go? But I'm not so sure. I think maybe, just maybe, he'll say, right, I've got you back, or help to get you back.
So basically, Dave, you've gone for yes, no, maybe there.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, well, you got to edge your bets a little bit in this world.
Kate, I mean, if we go up, Kate, obviously, his contract does finish at the end of the season. But if we go up, do we give him an extra year and let him bow out in the Premier League, or do you think he'd want to go out?
If he wants to, I think we'll offer it him. If he wants to still have another go.
Yes.
Because as long as he's fit, he feels capable. He'll know better than most. He's had a decade in the Premier League, so he'll know how grueling it is. But as long as he can come away relatively unscathed, I can't see why he wouldn't and say, I'm happy to be a bit part, because he was so late coming into this level of football. You're a long time retired, and I just think he loves it. Like Dave said, he absolutely loves it. So why kill the dream if you're not ready to? Why end it? You're a long time retired, and if you feel, I think Jamie's such an honest, does an honest assessment of his own capabilities. I think if he feels like he can offer something, he absolutely will do.
Well, I'm guessing, if we can't guarantee him regular football, of course, he could always sign for Man United.
Well, yeah.
Oh, did I say that out loud? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Sorry. Our two central defenders did well yesterday, didn't they?
Yes.
That is pretty insinuating. Oh God, it was a bit frustrating yesterday with Johnny. Like, I think one of the lads tweet about, I think it was Ant that was on the show the other week, tweeted saying like we couldn't get him to put 4 games together for the past 2 years, and now all of a sudden this plantar fasciitis has cured itself and he's not got a back anymore. And I can't imagine their facilities are any better than ours, and probably the opposite in terms of training. So yeah, frustrating, isn't it? Frustrating,
and I think a lot of things probably went on behind the scenes with a certain person that we don't know about. Like Dave said earlier, you've got to want to do your job, whatever job you're doing. And if that disappears, then yeah, well, I've just twinged this, or I've just pulled that. You know what that's like, Dave, don't you? But no, thank you all very much, and thank you both very, very much indeed. I'm going to be back I'm on a Leeds channel on Wednesday, and then we're back here on Thursday for the preview show at 7, and then the prediction show at 9, and then the watch along. Be back on Friday this week, and which is why the prediction show is back on, moved back to the Thursday at 9. Will be going to the match, Kate?
Yeah, I'll be there.
With your hood?
With my hood. In the hood.
Good. Brilliant. Dave, thank you so very much. Kate, let's
You're welcome.
First of all, Kate, tell people where they can follow you.
You can follow me on @KateBlakey40 on Twitter. So hopefully catch you on there.
Okay, and Mr. Pussy, where can people follow you?
I am unfollowable.
He does have stalkers, but thankfully we've never been able to see them on the show because the camera doesn't go too low. Thank you. This is what the crowd want. This is what they get up in. This is why they get up early in the mornings in Leatherhead. But, both of you, look, thank you so very much as always. I love this program. Thanks so much for coming on. Oh, as John says here, no Boris. No, he's banned. He's absolutely. I have banned Boris, as they say. I don't know if either of you were ever in when Boris was coming in, but
no, shame. Could have done that.
He basically everything that he ever posted was Vardy this, Vardy that. We'll go 1-0 down. Vardy will get 2 and we'll win, or Vardy will be brought on, he'll score the winner. He took it to sort of another level, and everything was boring that we were doing. And so I told him that next time he posted that he would get timed out. So he then decided to post it in Thai, thinking he was being very, very clever. And of course, you can Google Translate, and it was saying exactly the same thing, but in Thai. So I timed him out. He came back in, said, "Oh, I'm going to unlike your unlike the thread." Then I went, "Oh, okay, unlike it. I've banned you." So I don't think we're necessarily going to miss him. So normality. Well, no, I say normality. What is normality? But ladies and gentlemen, thank you both very, very much. Have a good week. Bring on Leeds. And hopefully 3 more points.
Yeah, tough game. See you next week.
See you on Friday.
Great. Yeah. Cheers. See you later. Bye.
Dave went before I was expecting him to go then.
Sorry.
Dave. Take care, buddy. Oh dear. Oh, God knows what's going on here. You see, talk about Boris and it all goes out the window. Thanks to both Dave and DK. Really do appreciate it. I love doing this show. It's always a laugh, always go off topic, and that's what I love, if I'm honest with you. I love, but don't tell them. Don't tell them. They don't know. They don't know I love it that much, so don't tell. Oh, hello, Dave, still in the green room. Hello. He's found a bottle. He's still there. But so I will see you on Wednesday on see you. I think it's the podcast on a Leeds LS11 podcast. We'll be back Thursday for the preview show. We'll have a Leeds fan on with myself and Craig. 7:00, that is, on Thursday. And then on Friday. Thursday night at 9:00, I should say, the prediction show. And Friday, 7:15-ish for the Match Day Live. Thank you to everybody that's joined in the chat. Really, really, really do appreciate it. Thank you to everybody that's been watching. If you like what you see and what you hear, then please do subscribe, smash the likes button, and we'll basically do everything that it says there. Follow and click the notify bell as well, and you'll never miss a show. And if you've been listening on your favorite podcast platforms, and we're all over the top podcast platforms with the Talk Sport as well, then please thank you very much for listening. Really, really do appreciate it. We've been LTID TV. I've been Chris. I'll get it right in a minute. And this is Arnie. Good night.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.